You spend months on a song. At some point, you stop fixing things. It's not because it's perfect, but it's because it finally holds up. And you convince yourself this one's actually going to do something. And then it comes out on the same day as about 100,000 other songs. And instead of standing out, it just kind of gets lost in everything else that dropped that day. What happens after that is pretty consistent. At first, we tell ourselves it just needs time. And then we start checking the numbers, not obsessively, but just more than we had planned to. And then a few days go by and nothing really moves. So we start looking around, to see what other artists are doing. At some point, it shifts from maybe people just haven't found it yet to maybe we missed something. But here's what actually changes the game. It's not about doing more random tactics. It's about a connected system, pre-release setup that builds real anticipation, creating genuine activity signals that platforms notice, keeping momentum after release day, and a community that makes all of it sustainable. And if you're tired of the cycle, then this is for you. And if you've been through that more than once, you already know how it goes. The problem is, it's not what most artists think it is. It's not that the music isn't good enough. And yeah, the platforms are ignoring us, but it's not personal. They just don't have a reason to pay attention yet. What ends up happening is we're trying to figure out how to get people to notice us and hear our music, obviously, and hey, maybe even react to it. So one release, we try posting a little bit more. The next one, maybe we try an ad, and then we hear we're supposed to be somewhere else. We try that too, but none of it is connected. It's just reacting and trying whatever we heard might work. And after a while, we either keep guessing or we look at everything we're supposed to be doing, and it just feels like too much to even organize. It's not because we can't do it, but because there's nothing tying it all together. And the thing about that is, before any of it even matters, a lot of us aren't actually set up properly in the first place, not in a complicated way, but just the basics. Having our songs registered properly, making sure publishing is actually handled, making sure everything is connected the way that it should be, and knowing what we actually own. Because that's how the system knows what to do with our music, and that's how we get paid. And if you strip all of this down, most of us are really trying to solve one of two things: either get more people to hear our music or make more money from it, and usually both. And even if some of that is in place, the next way this usually breaks down is the release itself, because this is where most of the energy goes, and it's also the part that's the least organized. For a long time, I treated a release kind of like a moment, and when I look back on it now, that's exactly how most artists approach it. We finish the track, we pick a date, and then once it's out, that's when we start trying to get people to notice it. And the problem with that isn't obvious at first, because it feels like that's what we're supposed to do. If the song's out, now we promote it. But by the time we're doing that, we're already behind because everything is starting from zero. And I'm curious, since most of my viewers are indie artists and producers and people in the music scene, then for those of you that have been stuck in that cycle, what part of the process is the hardest for you to break free from? This is what I mean by starting from zero. Nobody's heard it, nobody's expecting it, and nobody's looking for it. So every play, every click, every reaction has to be created from nothing. I used to drop the link and pray. Now I'm learning to treat the 4 weeks before the release as the real launch window, with short story clips, early saves from people who actually vibe with my sound, and 3 or 4 strategic shares. That single shift means that my next release won't start from absolute zero. It means that what we do before the release matters just as much, and if not more, than what we do after. And that's the part that I skipped for a long time. And I see it everywhere now. It's not because people don't care, but because nobody really lays it out as a sequence. What happens leading up to the release, and what are we showing people, and how are we introducing a song, and how are we giving them something to respond to before it's even out? That's what gives the release something to build on. Here's what a real pre-release sequence actually looks like. It's a simple timeline that I created that you can follow. So, 4 weeks out, finalize the track and upload it to your distributor. Lock in your release date and get your PRO and publishing sorted. Then 3 weeks out, craft your core story and messaging. Create the pre-save link and start soft sharing, such as rough ideas, lyrics, early versions, or even ask for input instead of just broadcasting things. Then 2 weeks out, consistent short form clips, teasers, direct engagement, and build your rollout plan. And then 1 week out, ramp up visibility, remind people about the pre-save from multiple angles. That's it. It's not overwhelming, but intentional. It turns the release from a cold drop into something that people are already familiar with. And even when I started getting that part right, there was still something missing. And here's what it is. We're all still just doing all of it by ourselves. And when you step back and look at how most of us try to promote music, it's the same pattern everywhere. Posting, sharing song links, and trying to get attention, but none of it is really connected to anything else. And so it turns into a constant stream of people trying to be heard instead of actually building momentum. And whether it's Spotify, YouTube, or Apple, platforms aren't just looking for a song. They're watching what signals happen around the song. Are people listening with intention? And are they saving it? And are they sharing it? Does it connect to anything else? And when all of that activity is scattered, nothing reinforces anything. So even if the music is solid, and even if we're doing more before the release, it still stays small because nothing around it is actually pushing it forward. And this is where things start to shift. Things work better when there's actual activity around a release, like people listening and saving it and sharing it, and not randomly, but in a way that we're actively shaping. And this is the part most of us don't realize. We actually have more control over that than we think. It's not in a hack kind of a way, but in whether those signals exist at all, because that's what the platforms are reacting to. It's not just the song, but what's happening around it. That's really why I started something I call Algorithm Busters. It's not about forcing anything or gaming the system. It's about giving a release a real starting point, creating a burst of genuine activity up front with people listening and saving and sharing it in the window where it actually matters. Listen, this isn't a hack. It's just giving the platform the data that it needs. And from there, it's up to the music. If it connects, it grows. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But at least now it has a real chance instead of getting lost the same day that it dropped. And even that isn't the end of it. For a long time, I treated release day like the finish line. What I've realized is that's actually kind of where it starts, what happens after the release. So think about it. How long do we stay with a song? How many different ways can we put it in front of people? This is where most of us drop the ball. Instead of disappearing after release day, follow through like this. On release day, post clearly and make it easy to access and engage with every comment and stay active. Don't disappear. Then 1 to 3 days after, share reactions and maybe share real listener feedback. 1 to 2 weeks after, then keep creating content around the same song from different angles instead of just jumping to the next project. Review what worked, refine your approach, and document it for the next time. You don't have to do every step perfectly, but having this kind of timeline instead of winging it changes everything. And I can say from personal experience, nothing compounds when you just move on. You and I have both lived that experience. And at some point, it becomes obvious this isn't just about working harder, it's about having a system that actually connects all of this from start to finish. And I got tired of just thinking about that, so I'm building it. It's a Discord server, definitely not a promo server, and not a void to dump links. But it's structured around everything that I just talked about, the fundamentals, the release sequence, the collaboration, and creating actual activity around your music over time. And it's built to do these things in a way that gives the music a real chance to grow and keep growing. It's small right now and intentionally because I want people in there who actually want to do this the right way. So if you watch this and you thought, yeah, this sounds familiar, then you'll probably get a lot out of it, and I want you there. And if this video helped reframe how you think about releases, subscribe for more practical systems and ideas like this one. It's time for all of us to stop treating our music like a series of random actions and start thinking about it as something that actually builds over time.